There's more footage that's coming in right now, Rajdeep, and it shows the kind of celebrations really that are playing out. Everyone's got their phones out. Everyone wants that golden selfie with at least one team member seen in those pictures. But beautiful images this, because it shows you the craze and the happiness, the joy that Team India has really brought now back home. Delayed welcome, but a grand one, a fitting one of that.
Some of them are likely to miss their flights. Those are pictures of inside the airport. And I must compliment...
think they care, though.
Yeah, and I must compliment some of them who are not really taking a selfie, but are on video call. So they've been kind enough to their family members to show them that here are the players, and not really capturing a memory as such. But I noticed similar visuals because I was on the same flight when I came out. I thought 6 in the morning, there may be a crowd that would have gathered outside, but inside it's going to be all calm. It was anything but that, yeah, because everyone who was working at the airport knew that they're going to come. So everyone, whether they were working on a counter or whether they were the baggage handlers or whatever, everyone turned up at that gate. So when they walked out, there was a massive crowd at the exit, and so quickly the security whisked them away from a secret exit. They could not even, forget about coming out of the airport from a secret or the VIP exit. Even from the gate, they had to be taken out from a different exit because they could not come out to the escalators and various other things to walk till the bed. There were so many people.
You know, what we heard from our reporters was that these people had gathered, like people outside the airport at least. And this is for just a fleeting glimpse of these cricketers, of these stars. And for that, they gathered at 3 a.m. in the morning, waited there through the morning, and it has been a rainy day in Delhi. For all of you living in the capital, you know it's been a rainy morning. It didn't stop people from gathering, and I think that these images, all of what happened in Delhi, in the national capital, it sums up the craze for cricket, essentially, and why it matters so much to bring these trophies home.
We were listening to a few of our reporters, and while they were bringing us live reactions, heard from a few fans who've travelled all the way. The fans travelled from Jammu to Mumbai.
Exactly.
There were fans who've travelled from Lucknow, fans who've travelled from Pune. Of course, Pune not too far away, so you can drive down.
Extreme short notice too, because the final schedule came out, I think, yesterday.
Just before we were taking the flight.
And that's when we knew that, there's going to be this kind of a massive show in Mumbai. So it's amazing, really.
Well, very well that it was in a short notice, but can you imagine if you had given like a week-long notice, how many people would have
I think you'd have people on boats in the sea. I think that's the only thing left if you look at these.
You would have had, I can bet my bottom dollar, you would have had Indian fans travel even from the US and UK.
Have you ever done it though, Nikhil?
I have, for soccer, yes.
For soccer?
I've paid good money to just go watch a match. In my younger days, just saved up on money just to go see Lionel Messi play. So I just booked the ticket to go to the UK. Landed there, saw his game, took a flight back. And those days, you were living off meager salaries as a bachelor.
Whatever it takes, right?
Yes, whatever it takes.
What about you?
I was expecting
Why
to make.
you in Mumbai?
I was expecting to make that trip to the camp now, though.
I did make a few trips to camp now, but also to watch him play in Scotland. But those are initial days of Lionel Messi. Little did I know that I'd get to see a lot of him later on.
As you did a couple of years back.
Yes, World Cup
You
final.
chose the right career then.
Yes, I did. I couldn't have done anything else, even if I tried. So
amazing.
The career found me rather than me finding me.
Look at these images on our screens. They're right there showing you the crowds. I think this is easily a few thousands who've gathered there along Mumbai's coast. It looks absolutely spectacular, but the numbers simply baffle me. And how many people have come? It's jam-packed. It's absolutely packed to the brim. You can see all of them chanting together, dancing. They're having a good time. And they're waiting, of course, for the bus to come through. We're expecting in the next 15-20 minutes odd, you'll see all of our champs there on board that open bus, celebrating with the trophy, showing it off to the scores of fans who've gathered there. And that right there will be the beautiful historic moment, which I'm sure the team also was waiting for, Nikhil. I'm sure they were extremely restless sitting in Barbados.
They were. In fact, the conversations that I had with a few of them, they were worried that, it's going to be a busy day. Firstly, you take a 16-hour flight. They were very anxious to begin with. Because you didn't know exactly what time to exit out of Barbados. There was another hurricane coming, so there was a small window. You had to use that window to get out of Barbados. After that, they were a bit worried because the itinerary was told to them at the 11th hour. So it was planned that you first take a 16-hour flight, land in Delhi, busy day in Delhi, then take a flight again to Mumbai, do the open-top bus parade. Then they are expected to head back to their cities tonight after this is done. So they're a bit worried. But the one piece of advice I did give them, having seen few other teams celebrate the way this team is going to be, that once you see the crowd, you will feed off the energy of the crowd. And while they did not believe with the amount of people that we predicted would be here, it's, I think, exceeded that. But once you see the crowd cheering you on, you can see, young kids, families all come out to see you. You just feed off it, and then adrenaline just takes over. So,
are their families going to be with them for this? Because
a lot of families.
A lot of them were there, I think.
They've traveled, yes.
But for this event, all the families being brought in.
The BCCI has been kind enough to accommodate them in those chartered flights, the families, and I assume a lot of them will also be in the open top bus because
I hope so.
Yes,
because they most definitely deserve that recognition too.
Young Angad, who's been a superstar, Jasprit Bumrah's son.
For all of you who don't know, young Angad's memes have gone viral. That's Bumrah's son. Because whether the World Cup is with him, whether he's with Prime Minister Modi, whether he's with his parents and they're cheering him on, he's got a poker face on, right? He's uninterested. He doesn't care about how big an event this is. The message is clear to him. None of this is a big deal for him. He's expecting bigger things from his father, perhaps.
He is the most well-behaved 2-year-old that I've ever seen.
Adorable.
Because on a 16-hour flight with a 2-year-old around, you're going to have a bumpy ride. But the most well-behaved 2-year-old I've seen.
So
you
no
could not hear him.
babies.
You could not hear him.
I think I know why, Nikhil. Because, when at such a young age...
Genes.
Perhaps
Well-behaved
number one.
father.
Number one. Number two, it was that gold medal that Jasprit Bumrah that instantly that he got it, he
put it on.
He put it around his neck. So he was just happy with the gold medal early in life when you get that gold medal.
Or like some on social media said, can I eat or chew on the cup? I most definitely can't. So I have nothing to smile about. But yes, young Angad is someone who's gone absolutely viral right now. Those pictures are on the left of your screens because we're tracking very closely the movement of the team. They're in that bus which you see right there, moving forward, heading towards Marine Drive. I think they're close now, if I'm not wrong. They're very close now.
They are. From the point from where that open top bus parade is going to start, they are, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be another 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yes.
They're on the ceiling now, are they?
I think they're headed towards the ceiling.
Yes. Correct. Headed towards the ceiling.
Yeah. Can we also for a second talk about that footage? And, I'm amazed by it. The fact that Hardik Pandya walked out there with so much swagger, with that cup in his hand. He's got his shades on, which is trademark Hardik also, right? Very stylish, very oozing style always. So he's got that attitude back because he kind of looked extremely emotional, kind of overwhelmed when the victory itself happened. So you didn't see the old shades of Hardik, of the swagger that you usually see.
Yes.
Today he's emerged out of the airport with all of that swagger on.
He has, but it's a sea change of the Hardik that I saw the last 2 days. In fact, in the flight, I had a couple of conversations, really calm, really composed. And when I asked him about those tough times, he just laughed it off. So it wasn't as if there was no retribution, there was no revenge, there was no that, I told you so sort of an attitude that I could gauge in my conversation with him in the flight. Really calm. The one thing, though, that really stands out in Hardik Pandya, and I think, this is where, when you see him from the outside, sometimes that swagger that you talk about, Akshata, is perceived as arrogance. And this is something that goes against him. But I tell you, this is his greatest quality as well. It is this swagger which allowed him to come from probably the lowest point in his career. From where most other players, and we've seen it in the past, the Indian cricket history is peppered with a lot of other examples of similar players who've never really recovered from such bad times. Yeah. I think it is this swagger that he has, it's this self-belief that he has, which allows him to think of himself as the best to do that particular job at that very moment.
It's great to see because I think it was exactly for this that he was trolled months ago.
Yes.
When he said exactly what you said, that he's arrogant, he's overconfident, all of the fame has gotten to his head, all of that. And today he's come back, redeemed himself essentially, proved his worth. And I think also a word has to go out for every one of his teammates who stood by him like a rock.
Yes, a word for Rohit Sharma.
Yeah.
I'm not
That's
saying
what
there was
a great
any.
captain does.
Yes, I'm not saying there was any friction, but because things were spoken about, he backed him. And then I think the beauty of it was the role that was assigned to Hardik Pandya. I don't think anyone's used the abilities that Hardik Pandya has better than what Rohit Sharma did. So on occasions, the same Hardik Pandya would bat at number 5 in a game, and I'm just talking about this World Cup. And on occasions, the same Hardik Pandya actually batted number 8 for India. And that's a big change of role, because batting at number 5, as anyone who follows cricket will tell you, requires a different skill set. Batting at number 8 in T20 cricket, a completely different skill set. But what Rohit Sharma realized that here I have a player who can play in different gears.
Who can do everything.
Yes, here I have a player who I can utilize based on the pitch conditions, the match conditions, and then utilize him. So that, and then secondly, this is the same Hardik Pandya who people were questioning that how can you even call him an all-rounder because he's not bowling. Injuries resulted in him not bowling. Then when he got back to bowling, he was bowling in the IPL, wasn't getting any great results with the ball. Of course, his team not doing well as captain was the other thing that may have contributed. Now you had a situation where the same captain, Rohit Sharma, trusted him as being the third fast bowler. So most teams were playing with 3 regular fast bowlers. India were playing with only 2, because Rohit had this faith in Hardik, saying, no, he's an all-rounder, all right, but for me, he can be a regular third fast bowler. And he did bowl in those crucial situations. We are talking about the Surya Kumar Yadav catch, and as beautiful as it looked, as television friendly as that moment was, I think the turning point, and I have no doubts, was Hardik Pandya's wicket of Henrik Klaasen. Henrik Klaasen, if he wasn't out on that over, that delivery of Hardik Pandya, South Africa would have won that final with 10 balls to spare. Easily with 10 balls to spare. Even though you had a few Jasprit Bumrah overs left. I think, and that wicket didn't come by chance. You see that delivery again, and I've seen multiple replays of that. That's a smart delivery of a cutter that he bowls outside the off stump, knowing fully well, here's a man in form. I need to play with his ego. If I keep bowling him, trying to bowl good deliveries, he's going to whack me. I have to play with his ego and bowl a delivery, a innocuous looking delivery, which he thinks is going to smash it, because that's my best chance to get him. And he gets it. So brilliant from Hardik Pandya. I think he's one of the stories. No doubt that Jasprit Bumrah is your man of the tournament. No arguments with that. But if you were to ask me to pick an MVP, I think it's going to be a tie between Akshar Patel and Hardik Pandya.
Interesting. But also there'll be a lot of questions now, because, there are some men we're all watching out for, because it's also giving us a lot of emotions, I'm sure, because of Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, Ravindra Jadeja, not 3, 4, Rahul Dravid. So you have a lot of emotions running through you, when you see these 3 faces on our screens, because you're like, what next for T20 internationals? Who's going to be the next captain? How are you going to fill these gaping holes?
I don't think you have anything to worry, Akshata, if you're a fan of Indian cricket. And I think the part of it, even though it's not really been spelled out, the part of the reason that some of these players have decided to hang up their boots is precisely the fact that they see the next gen is ready. So look at this Indian team that played at this World Cup. You had a Yashasvi Jaiswal, who many thought, we had Rajdeep with us a short while ago, where he said that I didn't think that Virat should have been part of the team. Correct. Why? Because you had a Yashasvi Jaiswal who was batting the way he was. He was setting the stage on fire. He was, throwing caution to the wind, batting aggressively, the way T20 cricket is being played. And when you started this tournament, that youngster is sitting on the bench, and an Indian fan is thinking, listen, we have a man in form, why is he not playing? I think one of the best T20 batters in India right now wasn't even part of the squad.
We have a problem of plenty?
Yes, you went in with him as an extra, not even part of the squad, and that's Rinku Singh. Rinku Singh for the last 2-3 years has been the most impactful batter in T20 cricket. If I combine T20 internationals and IPL, which is the same format, the most impactful batter. But this Indian team could not fit him. He travelled with the team, but as a reserve, just in case somebody gets injured and he comes in. He doesn't get a chance to play. So I think the decision that, let's say, Virat Kohli took when he comes out and makes that announcement, he made it very clear he had thought about it. And I think the part of the reason was that when he saw these players, see, you have to remember, while this is Rohit Sharma's team, this is also partly Virat Kohli's team. Because 2 years ago, he was captain, and a lot of players that are playing right now made their debut under Virat Kohli's captaincy. So I'm sure he looks at this team not just as a member of the team, but also as this is my team. I created a lot of this structure of this team. So when he sees that, okay, now is a time that this structure can change, things can move on, there are these 4 players that can come in and this team won't miss me, that's, I think, contributed in him taking that call that I'll step aside. Rohit, on the other hand, a completely different take. He actually came out and said that I hadn't planned to quit, but now that we've won, I think it's the perfect moment. So he thought that no better place to go.
Yes. But, the reason I ask this question is, for someone who doesn't follow active cricket, I'm talking about absolute legends, cricket superstars. It doesn't get bigger than a Jadeja, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli. They're household names right now. So you wonder, when 3 of them, 3 of perhaps most impactful Indian cricketers step out at the same time, what happens then? That's where my question really stems from, because these are 3 legends all bowing out at the same time.
So that's really interesting, Akshata. If One is the fact that do you have reserves which are good enough to fill their spot, which I alluded to a short while ago, that you do. But the other point, which is very interesting, is that these are superstars based on whom Indian cricket runs. Like people pay good money, bums on the seat. Correct. Because they are playing. But I think why the timing and why, again, now I go to a Rohit Sharma, why he may have decided. Because even in terms of stars that you need to see or stars that you need to create, this win was needed. Assuming this call was taken as, worst case scenario, India end up losing that final. And then you have three stalwarts leaving the game. Then, as a stakeholder of Indian cricket, you would be saying, okay, now do we have the next stars? We may have the talent, but are there stars enough to bring bums on the seat? Are there stars enough to have people interested in every match that India plays? Probably the answer to that would have been a no. Now that you've won, each member of that team is going to be a star. You're going to remember a Shivam Dubey now. You're going to remember an Akshar Patel now. Yeah. Of course, Jasprit Bumrah has already emerged as a superstar. And then, your youngsters in Rishabh Pant making that kind of comeback. So I think now each of them is a World Cup winner. Each of them is a star. So now while these three stalwarts of the sport move out, that star factor also remains, and the cricketing factor, which I alluded to earlier, in terms of talent, also remains. So it's a perfect win-win situation, perfect time for these players to have moved on.